Well, welcome to the Recycled Cottage and Garden once again. And I'm in the kitchen, and we are getting ready to can some pears. Dad was gifted with a good sized bag full of pears. They're the ones you see there on the table. And they are Texas pears. Don't know the variety. A common one is Kiefer, but I'm not sure what this variety is. Um, they are very hard, not the kind of pears you can just, pick off the tree and eat. They do have to be cooked somehow or another. So what I'm doing is peeling with my handy dandy crank peeler. This thing is invaluable if you're canning a lot of pears, apples, potatoes, anything like that. It will even spiral slice them if you want. Um, at this point, I'm just peeling them and nothing else. They are very hard. Some of them are rather misshapen. They don't peel well if they're misshapen either. Sometimes you have to do some by hand. Um, but this little crank gizmo sure makes it a whole lot easier. Um, I'm adjusting the depth of the peeling there. It's got a little wing nut on it, and you can adjust how deep you want it to peel into it, and I adjusted that. You have to shove it onto 3 little prongs, usually into the stem end after you snap the stem off. And then this is just old enough that the suction base doesn't hold real well anymore, so I just hold it with my hand, and it works just fine. And you'll see that the peeling usually ends up on my arm. Boy, that was sticky feeling. But, it does a good job, and it does it much faster than peeling by hand, and I won't get the hand cramps. So I highly recommend one of these if you do a lot of canning of hard fruits or potatoes. It's well worth it. Well worth the investment. I think they're about 20, somewhere between 20 and $30. Um, I actually got mine at a thrift store for $3, and it served me quite well. The next step is coming up here in a little bit, and what I've got there is a cookie sheet that I'm just putting all the peelings on. Those are actually going to be saved and put into my compost pile. So I'm just putting the peeled pears into that green bowl there, just to hold them for right now. And then we'll get to the next step in a minute. Well, see, you can see there it kind of caught on the knobbly end. But once it gets going, it does very, very well. This does not work on soft fruit. Last time I tried to do some apples for Mom, they were way too soft, and ended up having to peeling by hand because it just tore the apples up. And like Mrs. Wolfie, I like to sit at the table to do as much as I possibly can, because I have a bad back. I have sciatica, and this keeps it from getting worse if I can sit while I'm doing most tasks. So if it's going to take me more than a few minutes, I will usually set everything up and do my work on the table. And this is only the first step of several. Okay, we're going to start into the second phase here, which is going to be cutting these pears in half and then into quarters. They are very, very hard fruits, and you'll see just how hard in a minute here. But we're just quartering them at this point. We're not worrying about the cores or the seeds or the ends. That will all be done in the next step. Watch this. See, I have to slam it against the board to actually get through it. And it's not because the core is all that hard, it's how hard the fruit is. And most of them I end up having to slam down onto that board. So it's a good thing we have a sturdy table. Now the next section, somehow it didn't film it. I know I hit the button to record, but it didn't film. So I'm sorry about that. I don't have any more pears, so I can't go back and show you. What I did after this step was I took each quarter and I cut off the peeled ends, both ends, and then cut out the core, and I did that with a small paring knife. Those, I had swapped everything in different bowls at that time. And so the peeled, quartered, and cored pieces were put into a clean bowl with water, which had citric acid, or fruit fresh as they call it. And I had put that in the water. That was to keep them from turning brown. The fruit fresh I got probably about 6 years ago at Kroger's. They were on sale for 59 cents a little container, and I still have quite a few of them. I bought every one they had. The next step was to parboil them, and I parboiled for about 15 minutes to further soften them. I dumped out about half of the citric acid water and added just plain, and then added in stevia because Dad's not supposed to have sugar, and he can add more sweetener as he needs it. Then after that, they were put into hot jars. Okay, those jars were put into a pressure canner, and I pressure canned them rather than just water bath canning them to further cook them a little bit more. They only go for 20 minutes in the pressure canner. And after I pulled them out, we have 7 quarts and 1 pint of lovely pears. I am not sure why there's kind of a peachy color to them. That may have been a chemical reaction between the stevia and the citric acid water that was still in there to keep them nice and white. Not real sure. But there we go. Thanks for coming. Come visit again.